We are live. We're here. I showed our faces and then forgot to hit desktop audio and mic audio.
Yay, it's
So
nice. Oh, I see my audio is
moments,
working. Beautiful, beautiful.
is it? Let's double check. Yep. It's definitely working.
Wonderful. Love to see
Awesome.
it.
We're back.
We're
Our
back.
life in pixels.
Our
Made it
life in
again.
pixels, all three
I'm
of
here this
us.
time.
Let's freaking go.
Yep. Tim's here. Hey, question: should we introduce ourselves at the beginning of every podcast? Because I listen to a lot of podcasts,
Yeah, that is
and
like a common thing.
and they normally do that, and I'm just like, we don't do that. That we're just like, hey, fuckers, sup?
It
Mhm.
depends on the podcast. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
We could try it. Do you want to try it?
Yeah. Who wants to do the introduction
I
of
mean,
this?
we kind of do that with the what have we been playing segment.
Mm,
Kind of.
a little
I don't
bit.
know. It was just something I wanted to ask before the show, but it was kind of a shit show pre-show
Let's
today.
try it right now. We'll introduce ourselves. Welcome to
Hey,
OLEP.
guys.
I'm
Yeah,
Justin.
I'm Cody.
Hi, I'm Tim. I have a problem.
Tim has gaming hardware problems.
I have an addiction.
Gaming hardware for sure.
I have 4 gaming computers.
Mm.
My name is Tim and I have 4 gaming computers. Help me.
Hey, speaking of gaming computers and stuff, I saw in the Duluth Discord somebody got their Steam Deck.
What?
Yeah,
Like
it's
somebody
in
into
in the tactical gaming action.
who? I'm gonna go rob it.
Uh, every time I sly, is that Holmes?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
That muggle?
I Yeah, it's in the chat. It's in the main chat.
In general chat?
I think, or am I on movie stream night? I don't even know.
Oh,
You guys
that's
got
not
18
his. That's just
Whose
a
is it?
that's just a picture of it.
Oh, is
Oh,
it?
gee,
I
I
thought
don't think
somebody
that's
got it.
his.
I was
No,
about to go rob Holmes.
I don't think
Oh,
so.
I definitely just jacked up the cameras there for a second to go look at that.
Yeah, he posted a
Also,
picture
I've
just
been
to show
watching
the
a
size
lot of hardware
comparison.
reviews. Dude, I've been watching a lot of hardware reviews for the Steam Deck because a lot of people, like people that aren't us, do have their hands on it. It's very interesting.
What's so interesting about it? The fact that it runs
It's
shit really good?
it is even though it has a weaker CPU than other devices in its class, like the A Neo and the One X player, which are other handheld gaming PCs that have
Okay.
been around for a long time and cost anywhere from on the cheap end $800 to like $1,600, so much more expensive than the Steam Deck. It outperforms them because the RDNA 2 graphics chip that is
Ooh.
built into the APU, whereas those chips have they're running Vega graphics, so it's much older. So
Mm-hmm. Big brain.
mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, that's I'm into hardware when I need to like buy it, like for my desktop. I get really into the weeds, and then I totally ignore it for years. So there's a lot of words that just came out of your mouth that I don't know. It's just
Okay,
like it's gonna run
it
my games.
it's running a CPU that is more similar to an Xbox Series S or X than it is to one like a like a Switch.
Yeah. Can we get it in the Switch so Pokemon doesn't look like ass? It can run at more than 25 frames per second. That'd be great.
And
The dream.
MLB The Show doesn't look like it's literally just like a pixel art game.
A slide MLB the slideshow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
that
man.
trailer was running at like 10 FPS.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Uh, you know what? Before we jump into dunking on Nintendo and their,
Yeah, we can get there.
5-year-old hardware, Justin, what you been playing, man?
I've been playing a game on my Nintendo Switch known as, unfortunately, Triangle Strategy.
I can't believe they didn't come up with a new name. I
Yeah,
cannot believe
it's the
they
same
didn't
thing
come
they
up.
did with Octopath, right? Octopath was the working title, and they were like, yeah, we're just going to make it that.
I don't mind Octopath Traveler because that sounds interesting.
Yeah, Project Triangle Strategy. Triangle Strategy just sounds dumb.
It sounds like what you could name Fire Emblem: The Three Houses, but not Fire Emblem: The Three Houses.
Dude, it would be more fitting for it to be a Fire Emblem game because there's not. The triangle in Triangle Strategy is not like swords, axes, and spears beating each other. It's,
Right.
I don't know what the triangle is, I guess. Your
I
convictions,
don't
there are three
under
convictions you choose.
Oh, is there? I just
Yeah,
remember playing that demo from last year and then being like,
the
don't
dialogue.
pay attention to the story. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter right now. And then there's like 45 minutes of story that you don't know what the fuck is going on. Anyway, so how's the new demo?
it's good, man. This one's cool. So you're a big issue with that, right? Is they throw you
Mhm.
halfway in. A lot of people hated that. This new
Yeah.
it's just the demo. The full game's not out yet. This new
Right.
demo picks off at the very beginning, and you play through like the first 3 chapters. So
Mhm.
you get in on the ground floor, you know what's going on, and all of the progress you make is going to carry over to the full game. So that's nice.
Oh, yeah. I
But
think I did
here's
hear about that.
what I'm confused about.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure we played that full demo, like all three of us, back in May or June. Was it May or June?
I have no
Either way,
concept of
I
time.
think you're,
it's been almost a year.
Hmm.
yeah.
Even if it hadn't been almost a year, it feels like it's been two because time is a construct, especially in a post-COVID world. But still,
I can't wait for us to get to that post-COVID world.
I know, one day, somewhere over the rainbow. But you're enjoying it overall, playing through the chapters?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the combat. It's kind of broken
Mhm.
into 3 things. You have your kind of dialogue, story, scene, setup stuff where you're kind of like
Right.
making choices and seeing what's going on. And then you
Mhm.
have an exploration phase where you can walk around and talk to people and learn more about the world, which can open up more dialogue opportunities.
Right.
And then you have the combat phase, which is obviously the most exciting thing. And that's what I was doing when I realized, oh shit, I have to get ready for Olip. I gotta go. I was halfway through this battle, and I was like, oh, maybe if I just a couple more turns, I can probably beat it before Olip. No,
Mm.
no, they're long, but they're very satisfying.
Is it as complicated as the original demo when they threw you in with like 10 characters and you were just like trying to figure out what the fuck is happening in the combat?
It's still. I think the first battle is much simpler. The first one that you get
Yeah.
to do, you only control like 4 units, I think.
Okay.
It's very straightforward. There are no weird like tricks that you can trigger on the battlefield. So yeah, I think they maybe ease you into it a little bit more, but like I'm doing the second battle now and you're controlling like 6 units versus like a mob of dudes. So I don't know. It's also there's difficulty settings. I'm playing on hard. I don't know what the difficulty changes necessarily, but it's definitely challenging. Definitely
Hmm.
challenging. The only other thing I'd really say about it so far is the voice acting is still like hit or miss. Some characters' performances sound like they're just reading a script, and some characters feel like they're actually these characters and they're emoting, and you can really feel it.
Right.
So I was kind of disappointed to see that it's still inconsistent in that way. But it hasn't. I haven't switched it to the Japanese voiceover yet, but I might do that and just read
I
everything.
would. I would. It seems like it should be a sub game,
I mean,
honestly. That's the
yeah, I was
vibes I get from it.
surprised. I was surprised that it was like almost fully voice acted.
Right. Well, I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised there's any voice acting at all because normally in games like that, they're like, "Fuck you, read this text box." You know what I mean?
Exactly. I wish the
So
voice acting budget for this game was in Pokemon Legends.
that would have been nice.
Yeah.
That would have been pretty nice.
Mhm.
Speaking of that, I guess we'll just jump over to what I've been playing. I finished the main portion of the Pokemon story. Clocked in at 48 hours, and that was me kind of rushing the ending a little bit, not
Yeah.
completely.
You said you kind of
Uh,
didn't explore like the last 2 areas as much as you did the
yeah,
earlier ones.
not as much because my ADHD was kicking in when it comes to my games, and I was just like I had an itch to like kind of play something else because I'd just been like 100% Pokemon for
Yeah.
like a week, and I was just like grinding it kind of thing. I was like, I want to play Project Zomboid. I want to play Madden. I want to play. No, I have to finish the story. Just
Get it
get through
done.
it. So I will say there is a point in the story that I kind of can't wait for you to get to, because if they would have started the game with that point in the story, I think it would have been a fantastic idea.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, there's this. It gets there's a point in the story where I was like, man, this could turn into like a really mature type story where it like kind of speaks to the older audiences or whatever.
Mhm.
And then it goes back to like the hunky dory Pokemon nonsense. I was like,
Oh,
fuck.
okay.
I was kind of upset about that.
Yeah.
But I'm getting a little bit of the post game. I've played a little bit of the post game so far. Nothing crazy.
Did you find all the unknown?
I have not. Partially because I can't read the damn things. I just need to look up a guide for how to read them. I don't want to look up a guide necessarily of where to find
Yeah.
them kind of thing. Just how to read the text kind of thing. But yeah, I've seen some cool stuff. Like there's just cool stuff. I still haven't found a shiny.
No, you haven't?
No, you know what the worst part is?
Okay.
I post game. The first time I left the village post game, there was 3 mass outbreaks. Right? None of
Mhm.
them. None of
Not a
them had a
single
shiny. Hey, pro tip though, those fly balls or whatever that
Mhm.
you can get are perfect for mass outbreaks because you don't have to get right up on them. You could just yeet
Right.
them from far away, and you're just
Yeah.
same thing when you're on. You got the water mount
Yep.
yet? Okay, when you're on the water mount and it's like hard to sneak up on like Tentacool and Tentacruel and all them because they're like super aggressive.
Mhm.
Just yeet those fucking fly balls at them. That's what I
Okay,
started
yeah.
doing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. I've seen a lot of success with that. Like half the time if I'm trying to catch any water Pokemon, I just find like some land nearby and just like eat the balls as far as I can and just hope.
yeah,
Because some of
yeah.
them, like, have you caught a Basculin yet?
Yes.
Those
But,
fuckers run
well,
away so quick.
yeah, they do. It was funny. I accidentally ran into him because. Do you have Sneasel yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I ran into them because I was running with Sneasel on. So I actually died using the deer mount or whatever, trying to explore like the top of the ring of the volcano area or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
That's the only time I take it back. That was the first time I died. I've died twice.
Did you fall in lava?
No, I fell off the edge
Oh.
and then I hit ground and it was just too far
Mm-hmm.
of a fall, so I died. But I was exploring it with Sneasel now because I was like, "Fuck you, I can climb this shit now." And I saw like something sparkling. There's an island right behind, like a small little just piece of land right behind
Mm-hmm.
the volcano and stuff. And they spawn right around there. And I didn't know that. Like I didn't even see it on the map because it's if you look at the map, it's just all the way up in the upper right hand corner, and you can barely
Mm-hmm.
see it. That's even
Ooh.
in the playable area. And then all of a sudden, I had an alpha one like fuck with me, and I was just like, oh, I need you. And I started eating balls and shit at it. Anyway, so playing Pokemon, and we'll get into this in a second. But I broke down after beating Pokemon, and I bought Sifu.
Oh
Even though I'm
shit.
broke, I bought Sifu. It's so much fun. It's a good game.
Nice.
So, anyways, Tim, have you played anything this week?
I have been playing Outward and
Mm-hmm.
also been playing AC Odyssey through Steam Link on my phone because I'm trying to get more used to mobile
Oh
for
yeah.
when I get my Steam Deck.
Oh my god.
Adapting.
Yeah,
Outward. That's good to hear, man. That's such a cool game.
it is a cool game. I love that
I
game.
I have a problem with it though, and that is like it is I like hard games, but it doesn't ease you into anything. And so
No.
like I
Mm-hmm.
wind up restarting so many times. And I finally
Oh.
got to a point where like I'm doing okay. So I'm like, all right, it's fine. But like it was really frustrating for a little bit. So
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Very unforgiving.
It is. I figured you'd love it. You're a
I
masochist for
I
Dark Souls.
I
I
do
mean,
love it. It's
Oh
different
shit. I gotta
because
change the
in
counter.
oh oh yeah, you gotta
Ignore
fix
that
that
Elden
counter.
Ring counter. It's wrong.
So like
Shit.
in Dark Souls, it doesn't really matter when you die. Like it matters, but like it doesn't at the same time. Like you lose your progress in how far you are towards the next boss, but like you don't lose any items. You lose your
so
currency, but it's different. I don't know.
All right,
I'm not
there's
gonna
so
lose my
is
house in Dark Souls if I die too many times early on. You know what
so
I mean?
hold on,
13
hold on.
days until Elden Ring.
It is 13 days. And here's my question. Is Outward just a tad too hardcore?
I don't think that's it. I think I just haven't had enough time to like sit down and really settle into it because I've been
Right.
playing it in spurts and it's like I have a half hour here, I have a half hour
Mm,
there. So it's easier for me to jump into something like AC Odyssey that I already have like 400 hours in and I have a level 80 character that I'm like yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm on New Game Plus. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
Comfort
enjoyable
game.
because yeah, it is a comfort game. Whereas Outward is very much not a comfort game. It is not
No.
it is not
It's
made
not.
to be comfortable.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I will say I was a really big fan in Outward of like when you die, they have those events that happen kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
Right,
pretty cool.
instead of just
Instead of
dying.
yeah, instead of dying and respawning or having to load a save or something like that, it's like, no, your story is probably going to continue on. You're just going to be kind of fucked. So hopefully you can figure it out. Otherwise, we're just going to keep punishing you until you do.
Love
It's
that.
just like, yeah, I was a fan of that. So, oh man, do we want to talk about the failure that is Google Stadia, or do we just want to leave it? I mean,
We could just mention their
We had
rebranding.
such high hope.
high hopes, and Google once again delivered something that could have been cool and is now abandoning it. Um, I actually here's a theory for you guys. I actually thought about this because there was something I read somewhere that they were talking about. Stadia is going to be more focused on providing for third party developers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so not too long ago, was it last month?
Mhm.
AT&T like basically gave away a streaming copy of Arkham's, was it Asylum or Origins?
I forget which
It
one.
was it's one of the Arkham games. So if you're an AT&T customer, you
Arkham
now
Knight.
have a free, was it Arkham Knight? Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, you now have a free streaming copy of Arkham, and like that was done using Stadia tech. Like that was
Mhm.
just Google Stadia, but it's
Right.
not. Didn't say Stadia
So,
anywhere in
so,
it.
so here's a question for you. Sony doesn't have good cloud servers. Could you see with Stadia kind of going to the wayside, Sony being like, "Hey, you kind of already have this infrastructure set up. Ours isn't great. Yours is better. Can we come to some
It
kind of agreement to utilize that kind of stuff?"
Mm, I don't think
Random,
so
random
because
theory, but
it's not their servers that are the problem. They use the same servers as xCloud. They use Microsoft Azure servers. They might want to go away from that just because that's their main competitor. But like
right,
the hardware is not the problem. The problem is their software is just absolute crap. So
Mhm.
like that doesn't change going over to Stadia more than likely. Plus there's a lot more coding that goes into it because Stadia is just a PC game, right?
yeah.
You're playing PC games where you're not
Well,
playing PlayStation games, so it's different.
what if they did in lieu of full ports on upon release or whatever, a way to cloud stream like God of War Ragnarok as an option, right? They're like,
Hey,
"Hey, we won't have this fully ported for like a year, so here you go. You can do this." I don't know. It's just something I thought was interesting when they specifically came out and they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to focus on it as like a first party thing for us anymore. We're going to do a third party deal." And I was like, "Well, Sony could use some help in this department." I don't know. Anyways,
that would
yeah.
make
Mhm.
whatever Spartacus is going to look like really dumb.
I mean, it could. I don't know. But yeah, Google Stadia rebranded. What are they calling it now?
Oh,
Um,
I don't know.
Google
it's
Stream.
it
Mm.
Google Stream. Is that what you said? They should just call it shit and call it a day. I mean, it's just not. I
They gotta try some.
it's
They gotta do something with it.
yeah, I don't know. It's disappointing.
Yeah,
But yeah,
could have been great.
what's
Was
not
not.
disappointing is fucking Sifu.
Oh
I
yeah, you actually picked it up.
yeah, I did. So I convinced myself. I did the same thing Tim did with his laptop. I was like, it's only $40. All right,
Hmm.
it's not a full 60. It's just $40. All right.
Yeah.
So, but I just beaten Legends Arceus the night before, and I just kept seeing all this content about Sifu, and I was like, man, it looks so good. And so yeah, so I broke out the credit card and was like, all right, we're gonna do this shit. And it's a lot of fun. Very frustrating though. But at its core, it is a straight up fighting game, and I love it for that because it's not in the vein of like your traditional fighting game, right? Where it's been like it's not 2D, but like Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
not like that. There are scenes with that, but it's normally like you fighting a group of people or something like that. But the controls, man, like it's. I'm trying to figure out the best way to put this. It's more or less it punishes you whenever you make a mistake really, like, really bad. They'll beat the fuck out of you. Random Joe Schmo, like old ass looking Asian lady will beat the shit out of you. And there are old ass Asian ladies in this game that are legit there. Um but if once you like the better you get kind of thing, one, the cooler you feel. It makes you feel like an absolute badass when you're fighting these bosses and you're just like dodging their attacks and like blocking them right on time and stuff like that. Uh the balance there, like it's a very difficult game. It really is to like get down. It's easy to block, it's hard to dodge
Yeah,
because you can dodge in all four directions.
yeah,
It,
it's like,
it,
could you talk about the combat and like mechanically how it works?
yeah, so the way it works is L1 is basically the main way you do a lot of stuff. But you hold L1 and then up, down, left, and right are all different ways you can dodge. And then if you don't move the direction, L1 hitting L1, getting like a perfect timing is how you like block, and just holding L1 is just a normal block. But there's this bar at the bottom of your screen that they call structure.
Oh yeah, this is
Uh,
like poise kind of.
Correct. Yeah, it's a lot like poise, and if it gets all the way to the end, it breaks, and then you normally get a big chunk of health taken out.
Hmm.
Which, by the way, even the most basic enemies, like 1, 2, 3 hits, will take out almost half your health. It's crazy.
Very lethal.
It is. It really is. And so, but every time you do a takedown, you get a little bit of health back. Um, but yeah, so L1 is kind of where you live a little bit. There's weapons in the game that help you out to like kind of even things out because you got these mobs coming out at you. But you'll get like a metal pipe and you're like dink dink dink, and then you'll take them out real quick. And then they also have this other mechanic where like you'll be fighting a random mob and then out of nowhere, like you'll go to like knock them out. Because when you break their structure, it'll show like you hold or you hit triangle and circle at the same time. And normally it does like a cool little like a short little cinematic of you like beating the fuck out of them real quick. But every once in a while, these mobs, you'll do that, and the NPC will counter it. And now all of a
Ooh.
sudden they're like this. They're not a boss. They're kind of like a mini boss,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you have to do it again, but they're like way better than they were the first time. And then also, and then you're
Interesting.
like, what the fuck? Um,
Keeps you on your toes.
it really does. And and then there's like some other things. So the way the game works is like I don't want to ruin the beginning, but the opening stuff is super cool. But basically, the main premise of the game is you have like this charm, and when you die, you age, right? So you start at age 20, and when you die, you'll go to age 21, right? But then when you die again, you'll go to age 23 because your death counter goes from 1 to 2 and then it multiplies
Oh.
basically like that. And then it can start once you've died like 4 times, that shit multiplies real fucking quick.
Hmm.
And you'll hit 40 in like no time. And one of the hardest achievements to get in that game is like prodigal son or something like that. And that's to beat all 5 levels, but it be no older than 25 years old,
Ooh.
and it's just super difficult. Um, but there's even if you have your death counter go up, there's also enemies in the game that you can defeat that are not just bosses that will make that you can make your death counter go down by 1 or reset it like completely
Oh wow.
kind of thing. So that's like your age will stay the same, but the death counter will go down. So like let's say I'm 25 and I have two or no, it'd be like 3 death counters or whatever. I can defeat some enemies or whatever, like some certain types of enemies, and it'll go. I can bring it back down to 0. So the next time I die, I only go to 26 instead of like hitting 30, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Is
and
it
once you hit certain,
when
what's that?
you get older, does that change the gameplay? Does that make you like
Yeah,
stronger
it'll.
but easier to kill or something?
Yeah, that's exactly what it does. So once you hit 30, you'll see something on your screen. It'll be like damage up, health down, and you'll see your
Mm,
health bar be shorter and stuff like that.
interesting.
Um, but also, there's these things called shrines that you can find throughout each level, and they're these little like dragon shrines, and you can unlock one thing at each shrine, and there's a little combo, like point counter that you can get, as you play, and it'll be like experience points when you're playing. And so when you go to the shrine, you can either unlock something. There's these three things you can unlock, like more structure, higher weapon durability, this that, and the other thing. But it's split up. Like one thing will be like you have to unlock this before you hit age 25. Otherwise, after that, it's locked. Like you can't even put points into it anymore.
Hmm.
And then there's other things that you can use those experience, like the level points is what it is, to unlock some other things. Like when you dodge, it reduces how much structure you've built up, right? It'll reduce it by a little bit. Or you can use the experience points you've built up by defeating enemies, and you can unlock something else, kind of thing. So there's like three different categories. Each ability has like three different upgrades to it, and then on top of that, sorry, there's like the move upgrades, and those you can unlock permanently by putting experience points in them like 5 times, like throughout your playthrough kind of thing.
Mhm.
And if you decide to just die, like if you die, you can just decide to be like, all right, I'm done. And if you haven't like permanently unlocked something or whatever, it'll reset everything or
Oh.
whatever. So anything you don't have permanently unlocked, it'll be reset to like the beginning of that level kind of thing.
Mhm.
So it's just there's strategy that goes into it, but at its core, just like the combat is just a lot of fun. So
It
I like
looks
to play it in
very
like
satisfying.
yeah, I like to play it in like 30-minute, like 1 hour bursts kind of thing because I get frustrated. I'd be getting mad, but it's still very satisfying like the whole time. And it's got like a little excuse me, it's got like a little AI practice arena, but that's only like 1v1. You can't do this is one of the drawbacks. When you do in the practice arena, it's the 1v1. You can't have like 3 or 4 or 5 mobs fighting you at the same time, so you can get used to that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Um But yeah, no, it's a very like the combat is very deep. It's legit like fighting game. And if you like masochism in any way, shape, or form, you'll probably like Sifu because it will beat the living shit out of you.
I don't need to be called out like this.
Well, and also remember that Sifu is a timed exclusive, so it is coming out to Xbox. It's
Mm.
not so you don't have to wait for it forever. But it's a very good game. I'm excited I got it. I played a little bit of it last night, kind of thing, and got my ass beat. I'm trying to get the achievement or the trophy right now where you beat a boss without dying. Like you go through the
Mm.
whole level. So I replayed this first level a fucking bunch, dude. Like, and then I forgot to talk about there's shortcuts in the game too, which are strategically like good and bad. There's a whole bunch. There's a lot to the game. It's very good though. It's a good game.
Yeah, it sounds good. I missed Absolver. I skipped that one, so I feel like this will be a good one to jump in on.
This is much better than Absolver. I'll say that. So probably be
Absolver was interesting.
Absolver had cool combat, but I don't think it was like they did good with mouse and keyboard, but it combat. I feel like fighting games are just a lot better with control. So, anyways, I've talked long enough about Sifu. It's a
All
very good
right,
game.
what else do you guys want to talk about?
Um, what is this? Oh, this is more relevant for me and Justin than Tim. With the whole anime studios, specifically Toei, cracking down on anime YouTubers
Yeah,
because fair use does not exist in Japan.
yeah, that is such a interesting discussion. So basically, there are these studios who are filing lawsuits against YouTubers who use footage from their anime, right?
Yeah, so basically, they try, from what I understand from everything that happened, is that they tried to go through YouTube to like get it struck down, but YouTube was like, nah, like it falls under fair use or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so now what Japan's doing to circumvent that is they're doing these things, I think they're called slap suits, where basically the whole point is just to drain the YouTuber of resources instead it through a legal battle because like the dude who this happened to, who I forget his name off the top of my head, but he was like, I have to get a lawyer here in America, I have to get an international lawyer, I have to get a Japanese lawyer, I have to like blah blah blah. Like he's like, I'd have to do all this stuff to fight this. But it's just a weird position because like basically no matter what he does, his channel is probably going to come down. But if he doesn't fight it, it sets a precedent. If he does fight it, like does he
Mm.
have like it drains his personal financial funds? It's just like um, I've heard people saying that the solution to this is the geo lock content on
Mhm.
YouTube, like, give creators the ability to do that? I don't fucking know. I didn't know you could even do that to be like, before, but apparently you
Yeah,
could.
I had no idea.
YouTube already does that automatically though. Like there have been, for example, like there was the um the Game Awards stream that we did.
Yeah.
It original I took it down because somebody copyright claimed it, even though there were we talked about this on the stream, but there were bigger YouTubers that did
Channels.
the exact
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
That theirs is still up and it's fine, but ours got claimed. So I was like, whatever. But before it got claimed and it was no longer available for viewing, it was blocked in specific countries. So
Hmm,
YouTube already does that.
Right.
interesting.
So like,
I guess
I don't
what the
know.
argument is that it used to be available for the creator to do themselves, and then YouTube just out of nowhere just took it away. Like, they didn't tell anybody, they just one day you couldn't do it anymore,
Hmm.
kinda thing. Which, I mean, does possibly fix this. Um, I'm not 100% sure. It's just it's scary, right, for the YouTube, community that surrounds anime, right? Um because like I watch anime music videos and stuff like that or whatever because I think they're cool and whatnot.
Mhm.
All of those could go away. Like all that could go away. And like people have learned how to like video edit and stuff from things like that. You know what I mean? It's just like a way a tool for that. So I the thing I'll never understand, and this is a whole old school Japanese thought process in my opinion, but why wouldn't you want this? Like it's free advertising,
Yeah,
really.
it's not like they're posting whole episodes of your anime on their YouTube
Right.
channels. It's just
Right.
using clips for whatever they're doing, reviewing or
Right.
making parodies or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I was
for
gonna say it's gonna be to me. It would be very content dependent because I don't have context for the content creators you guys are talking about. But if this was like the reaction videos where all they do is go, "Oh
right.
man, that's so cool!" like for 30 minutes, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Like that's different. If there's no,
So this was a this channel in particular is a straight up review channel where like he's just reviewing shows and stuff like that and giving context and that kind of thing. I get what you're saying. Yeah, uploading full episodes obviously wrong. Like that's just kind of what it is. Like don't do that. Um and Funimation and Crunchyroll aren't that expensive. I mean not to be that guy, but they're not. So um I don't know. It's just scary from that standpoint that there is a whole community that could just like be gone overnight, basically
Mhm.
on YouTube if the other studios follow suit with what Toei is doing. So something to keep an eye
Spooky.
on. Yeah. Um. Let's see. This is interesting to me. Um. Platinum Games coming out. Phil, let's get Scalebound done. Let's do it. What do y'all think?
That
Y'all
was
know what
funny
Scalebound
seeing
is?
them straight up shout out Phil, like, Phil, you're the guy, you
Mhm.
get shit done. Let's do this. We were
Yeah.
doing it. We didn't make it happen.
Yeah.
Let's do it now. I had to
Right.
Google Scalebound because I didn't remember what it was, but it looks
Oh,
like a
man.
wild, like, it's like a third person action RPG, as they do.
Mhm,
But you also control
mhm.
this giant fucking like dragon monster thing and you like sick it on people during combat.
Yep,
It's kind of cool
yep,
looking.
yep, it looked amazing. I was hyped for it,
Very
and it was
platinum.
co-op. It was
Oh
co-op
shit.
with raid bosses, basically, is what it was.
Interesting.
4-player co-op,
That's cool.
which was kinda the big deal about it, right? Like, people were so excited. It also seemed to have kind of, like, a musical spin to it. Like, it kind of
Hmm.
implied that there was, like, maybe something to do with music and stuff in it. I don't
It
100%
obviously
remember.
had banging tracks because it was platinum
Yeah, it did.
games.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, I think if this were to happen, like let's say Scalebound, they go back to they go back to it and they fix it up
They
and
put
they
it on
get it
Game
released.
Pass.
Right, get it put on Game Pass because it's what Game Pass is all about. Co-op games, you know what I mean? Like 100%. I'm there, right? Um the optics on that though, right? Got to be great that like hey, Xbox One generation sucked, but you know what? We're in such a good position right now that we can go get some of those old canceled projects and we can revive them and we can go ahead and still push them out. Like from an optics perspective, even if the game isn't great, like that's still good. I feel like, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you all think? Tim's
I,
like, nah,
I mean,
nah.
I mean, like Scalebound looks cool, but I wasn't tore up when it didn't get made. It was like, oh, that's neat. Oh, too bad. Like I moved on. I think as cool as it would be for them to make it, I think so many people that were even mildly excited about the game have moved on, and I don't know. I'm not sure if that was maybe too late on that one. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, it would be cool. I mean, if they still have all that work that they'd already done, and they didn't have to start from scratch again, like being able to use those assets that they spent time making. Um,
Right.
but yeah, if you look at it from like a perspective where it's like they just like make this from scratch again, like it would be cool.
Yeah.
But for the average consumer, I don't think anyone would be too excited. But looking at it from like a dev point of view, that definitely makes Xbox look good, man. Like, oh
Right.
wow, these guys actually came over and they were like, yeah, let's actually do that. We're gonna hook
Right.
you up. We're gonna make this game that y'all tried to make
Yeah.
because we got
Yeah.
Xbox money.
Yeah. Because Platinum did come out, and they were like, "Hey, like, both parties are kind of at fault here, but we're also at fault because we've never worked with Unreal before. We've never done any online co-op and stuff like that. Because to my knowledge, because I'm not the biggest like Platinum Games fan, but most of their stuff is a single player, correct? I'm
Yeah,
not crazy. Yeah. So like there was a lot of unknowns that they hadn't dealt with before, and that's kind of why part of the reason why there was some hiccups and long development time and this, that, and the other thing. Um, but I don't know. I think it's encouraging that they want to go back and work on it. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. Look, look, anything with dragons, I'm here for. All right, like let's get it. You know what I mean? If
maybe
you can
we'll
give me a big old
see.
dragon pet, let's get it.
Maybe we'll see other studios. Shout out to Phil, like, yo, Phil, save our thing next. Bring Nosgoth back.
Oh, yeah, now see,
Uh,
don't tease me like that. But also, I'm not rooting for this. I don't think it's likely. I don't think it would be a good thing. But what if this led to Xbox being like, yeah, we will, but how about for an ownership stake in your
Right,
company?
oh
right.
boy.
Now all of a
Oh
sudden,
boy.
Yeah.
That would be super interesting considering Bayonetta and Nintendo.
Bayonetta, Nintendo, and it's not like Platinum doesn't have a close relationship with Sony as well
Yeah,
because
dude.
Right.
They're all
uh,
over.
Yeah, so I wanna lead that into the next conversation about what Xbox talked about with Activision. But before that, I do wanna put out there, if there was I was thinking about it this week, if there was a small studio that I think, Microsoft should acquire at this point or whatever, like, if they were just like, "Oh, we just wanna spend a little bit of money, because we just wanna bring this studio into our ecosystem," it's Hello Games. I think them getting No Man's Sky and those developers and because
you're making it sound like being acquired by Xbox is a reward for good work now. Because
well,
like
no, that's not my point. I'm more talking about to just continue to ensure that they have these large encompassing live service games and stuff like that. Um, because Hello Games has done a very good job of, you know, reviving that game and, labor of love and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? Maybe they never would have been in that position if they weren't such a small studio with such high ambitions and they had better backing when it comes monetarily and stuff like that or whatever. So I'm not saying
remind
it's
me
necessarily.
who fitted the bill for most of No Man's Sky? Remind me real quick.
I don't know.
I would assume Sony,
Do you
right?
forget? Sony.
Was it Sony? I don't know.
Yeah, that was all at
Sony
Sony's
funded
presentation.
a lot of the development for that game, which is
Sony
probably
built
why it got
all
pushed.
of the marketing hype for it. They
Mm,
made it the hype that it
yeah.
became. Like they created this
Well,
thing for it to live up to.
that's funny then that Sony hasn't already bought them because that's normally what Sony does is they push it out there
Right, and we've
and they
been reading
hire them
about how Sony wants all of these live
on
service
like live service
games.
thing. So maybe that's already in the works. I don't know. It could be. I didn't realize. I don't remember that. I don't. I legit didn't remember Sony
Oh yeah,
pushing Hello Games and No Man's Sky
it
like that.
it wasn't it they didn't own it and they weren't just like the primary publisher, but they gave Hello Games a lot.
Yeah. That's interesting. But anyways, this goes into what's really been happening lately. Like we're talking about acquisitions, and I really feel like we're gonna be talking about them all year. I
Mhm.
know Xbox, as we know, Xbox bought Activision Blizzard, right? And that should be done by January, somewhere in between January of June of next year, in that 6 month time period. But Xbox came out, or Microsoft, and they were like, "Hey, we're committed to keeping Call of Duty multi-platform, Call of Duty and any popular Blizzard Activision games multi-platform past current agreements." Which, I'll be honest, surprised me because if you go back to when Phil originally started talking about like acquisitions, especially with Bethesda, um, he said directly that acquisition was about bringing exclusive titles to the Xbox ecosystem. Wow, and trying to reward that fan base, right, for buying, being part of the ecosystem. So it's I think there's an argument to be made that there's a little bit of mixed messaging going on here. Could also be that with I don't know if you guys have really been paying attention, but the FTC and stuff like that has been very vocal about like cracking down on major acquisitions like this.
Yeah, they're
So this might
reviewing this purchase, right?
right, well, and they have to because of how large a purchase it is. Like that's not new. It's just more they're talking about this being more strict than they were in the past with acquisitions of the size because that's how the consolidation happened with and like the tech arena and whatnot with like Facebook and Google and stuff like that or whatever. So
Mhm.
um, that's kind of been going on. So there's speculation that Microsoft came out and said this because they don't want to seem like they're consolidating a certain market, aka the shooter market, um, for video games and stuff like that. Just because, I mean, if they buy this, right? They're getting this. They own Call of Duty, Doom, Halo, like basically every big shooter other than Destiny and Battlefield. You know what I mean? So I think that's why. I don't know.
Yeah,
You
makes
guys have
sense.
thoughts? You guys
I
think
I
this is a good
think
move?
I think that that is partially true, but also Phil has come out in the past and said that he doesn't. So Phil Spencer is an interesting person because there's Phil
Mhm.
Spencer, the lifelong gamer,
Yeah.
and there's Phil Spencer, the guy who has to run that company, right?
Right.
And there have been interviews where he's like lamented about exclusivity, right? Like where
Yeah.
he doesn't necessarily think it's a good
Right.
thing. So I think he has to walk that fine line for himself as well as for his company
Right.
between how much exclusivity is too much. But also, if you look at the history of Xbox, like yeah, there are definitely games that they have published exclusively on Xbox and PC.
Right.
But then you also have like Minecraft. They never made Minecraft exclusive, and at the time that Minecraft was acquired, mind you, this is forever ago, but at the time it was one of the larger purchases in gaming history, right?
Right.
So that still to this day is on PlayStation, and it didn't have to be. They put it on the Switch, and they didn't have to, right?
Right.
So I think you're not entirely wrong, but I also don't think it's completely out of character for Microsoft to pick and choose which franchises it's going to make exclusive and which ones it's not. And I think when it comes to like Call of Duty, being that
Mhm.
it's multiplayer
Mhm.
primarily, it makes sense to keep it multi-platform. Whereas like Halo, well, not Halo. Halo's always been Xbox exclusive, but like if you look at the Bethesda acquisition, what
Mhm.
did they buy? Yeah, there was Fallout 76, but they bought a bunch of single player IPs to kind of feed their fan base single
Right.
player IPs. In my opinion, I don't know, but
Me I saw that argument made. I think the bigger argument would be at the time, bringing Minecraft exclusively to Xbox wasn't gonna bring players, right? Because Minecraft is super popular and stuff like that, but nobody the Xbox One was relatively just hated across the board, right? People weren't gonna go buy an Xbox to play Minecraft, right? Because just the position and the perception of what Xbox was at the time.
I mean, that goes all the way back to 360 though. That was pre Xbox One even.
Xbox 360 was a pretty popular console. I
Right,
would
but what
say.
I'm saying is they bought it during the 360 era.
I thought it was
That
Xbox
was
One era.
it was longer ago than you're thinking.
Mm, anyways, but I mean, either way, this is a win for people who play on Xbox or have Game Pass because they're going to get every Call of Duty from now until the end of eternity on day one on Game Pass. Like that's just what it is, right? And
I'm
that's gonna
wrong.
be the. Are you okay?
Yeah, it was 2014. You're right. It was the very beginning of Xbox One era. You're right.
Yeah, and that's even worse because everybody was like, I mean, I bought a PlayStation to start out the era because
Yeah.
of the E3 and stuff like that. Um, I mean, but as I was saying, it's a big win in general, just because for anybody who's on Game Pass, because they're still going to get Call of Duty or whatever version of that day one, day and date. You know what I mean? You're not paying anything more as of right now for that acquisition. But I think you would have seen the player count be higher on Xbox if you make it exclusive at that point, right? Because people would there's a lot of people who have a PlayStation specifically to play Call of Duty with their friends on PlayStation. If everybody decided to, all right, Call of Duty is now only on Xbox, you know what I mean? I guess we're all getting Xboxes. You know what I mean? Like that's how, or they would have been like, oh, I guess I'm getting a PC, one of the two, you know what I mean? Like that would have been, I feel like that would have moved players from the PlayStation ecosystem. It's just like you said, it's not completely out of character. Um, but to your argument about Bethesda, yes, it's single player, but Skyrim has sold 30 million copies or some crazy ass number. You know what I mean? It's one of the best selling games ever. So if we're using sales as kind of like an indicator, then wouldn't that mean that maybe Elder Scrolls 6 isn't gonna be exclusive? Starfield would be exclusive because it's a brand new IP and it's never been across any other platforms. But Skyrim sold, I mean, it's been on fucking refrigerators in Alexa. You know what I mean? So it's just a weird messaging, I think, overall of like, hey, so the big IPs may or may not be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem kind of thing. I don't know. It's not bad though. Like overall, this is a good thing for just gaming in general, right? You don't want to see the consolidation that we saw with like Netflix and stuff like that. So I don't know. Like I'm not broken up about it. I have a PlayStation and an Xbox. I play it on whatever the fuck I want. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, the one thing people keep saying about, Xbox kind of snapping everything up and everything being Xbox is like, oh yeah, they're gonna get everything and then they're gonna jack all the prices up, and
yeah.
that hasn't happened yet.
No, it hasn't.
I
So
think I read. So, did you guys read the article that he did an interview very recently,
With
filled it,
Steven
where
Totillo.
yeah, they asked him specifically that, and he goes, "I think you're looking for the evil Phil, because I
Yes.
don't."
yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah,
hilarious.
That's
yeah.
very funny. Yeah, I'd like to read that whole interview because he's such a charming guy, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's all interesting. Um, but this is good. Look, this is good. Call of Duty for everybody. Probably World of Warcraft for everybody. I still think
Yeah.
World of Warcraft is coming to consoles by December of next year. I just think that's a no-brainer, slam dunk. And then um
I would
maybe
agree
the
with you, except
Except it's so
I
fucking
don't.
old.
There's that, plus the acquisition isn't going to close till June of next year. So, like,
well, they
uh,
already added controller support last year, I guess. So now you're just looking at the porting process. If there's already controller support, I mean, I think that's the overall biggest hurdle, honestly. If you can figure out how to get to work on a
wait, they
controller,
put controller support in WoW, but the
yeah,
PC version of Diablo 3 still doesn't have controller support. Am
I
I?
Ooh.
don't know.
Am I? Am
Well,
I? Is that? Is
that was
that? Is that right?
the other
That's,
franchise. Diablo and Overwatch, I think, will then also stay multi-plat. But what about Crash Bandicoot or Spyro? Like, does that go exclusive?
That'd be
I
weird.
don't know. Yeah, it's all funky. Um,
Yeah. I mean, as far as like multiplayer games go, obviously they just can't figure out how to just make their games cross-platform for everyone because that's just too
yeah,
hard. So
Yeah.
instead, they can just consolidate their games. That's fine, I
Yeah.
guess.
I'm just floored by the fact that D3 doesn't have controller support, but WoW does. Even though D3 plays phenomenally on Xbox.
Yeah, it
Like
does.
like it plays great with a controller, but they didn't add controller support to the PC version, but
Goofy.
they did for WoW. What the fuck?
All that
You know,
subscription money, man.
Stupidest shit.
yeah. Since we're still talking about Game Pass a little bit here, though, do we want to talk about how awful Crossfire X is?
Oh yeah,
Haven't
I have
played
no
it. I
idea.
have
I haven't
nothing to
seen
say
anything
about it.
about it.
Okay. So I downloaded the multiplayer the other day.
This is a new first-person shooter that I've.
It's
This
so
is an
I know
old
nothing about.
first-person
yeah,
shooter that we're just experiencing for the first time.
correct. So this
It's
is
big in
a
China.
it's a popular shooter in China,
Oh, okay.
is what it is. They were trying to bring it to the West. This game is fucking awful. It is god. So I played one multiplayer match, and I was like, this feels like a shooter that was made in the late 90s with like Call of Duty-ish graphics.
Mm.
It's very bad.
Yeah, it's CS:GO, but
It's not
worse.
CS:GO. I don't know why that comparison keeps happening. You can't ADS in CS:GO. Like you just can't.
Okay, it's CS:GO with ADS.
No, it's not. It's not CS:GO. Like that's the thing. Like it's not even. I don't know. I've heard that comparison a lot, and I don't know where that comes from. I literally have no idea because the game is total shit. Like it is one of the worst games of shooters I've ever played, hands down. And so it's so bad. It's so bad that it was supposed to release. The campaign was supposed to come out on Game Pass. It didn't even come out. You can look right now. It's not even on the recent, like the new recent releases list. It's not. Xbox is trying to bury this.
Oh
They want
no.
nothing to do with it. And this is the one thing that you got to worry about when it comes to Game Pass. Because this is the type of game that they need to stay away from, right? Because the biggest argument against Game Pass is that it's going to reduce the quality of games because they're not getting, like, these developers aren't getting game sales to then, like at the back end of things after they've created the game and stuff like that. This is the poster child, or will be the poster child going forward of that argument. It is awful. And the campaign, I didn't even try to play the campaign, but I listened to people talk about it. It's made by Remedy, and it is awful. It's 2 hours. The campaign is 2 hours long.
That's not very long.
No, it's not.
For
And
a
I heard
shooter, especially.
yeah, it was compared to Rogue Warrior.
Hmm.
I don't know if you guys played that. I did back in the day. Also, awful first-person shooter game. So yeah, it's ungood. It's very ungood. It's laughably ungood. Like I was ADSing in that game, and then I'd shoot, and it'd bring me out of the ADS for
Oh,
no reason.
that's not good
I have
design.
I have no idea. It was just weird. I was very upset about how bad it was because I was like, oh, it'd be nice to have like a new shooter that I can jump into every once in a while. No,
You
I'll
said
avoid
it
that.
feels like a game that can. So take
when
a
did it come
guess.
out?
I googled it.
When
Take
it
a
first
guess.
came out.
It was first released in South Korea
2001.
on May 3rd, 2007.
Wow.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Why
feels
would
like
they
it.
bring it to the West now?
I don't
It's
know.
older than CS:GO.
That's
Yeah.
so weird. I mean, like, Lost Ark, that's one thing. This is another thing entirely.
Correct. Lost Ark isn't doing that great today, anyways.
Yeah, it just
Right?
launched today, right? The official
Yeah.
launch.
Yeah. The official launch. I know Ben's been having a good time with the or he was.
Wait, I thought it didn't launch
It is
because
launching.
it
It's still
launched
launching
and then they
today.
took it down because it was broken.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
It's still launching today. They came out and said that they fixed the stuff, whatever.
Okay,
Mm.
well I was driving
Here,
from the office today,
let me.
so
I can officially hit play if I wanted to start it right now. I couldn't do that last night. I was
Mm.
hoping it'd come open at midnight. I was gonna play it last night. Um, but yeah, no. Lost Ark having a little bit of a rough launch, losing people's characters.
Right.
did you just call it Russian?
I mean, Sure, I
Does
might
seem
have.
fun.
I don't know. I don't know. It's I don't know. I'm excited to play this. I think a Diablo-esque MMO is a cool idea.
Yeah,
Uh,
free to play.
Yep, that's kind of my biggest draw right now is that it's free to play. I know Ben was having a good time until they lost his character, and now he's like,
Fuck.
not so happy.
Yeah, I liked his
So
screenshot of him with all that like evil ass looking armor and his cute little
right,
cat.
yeah. Well, yeah, he got the cat for the founders pack. You know what I
Hmm.
saw? He had what achievement he unlocked already? Use the basic attack 40,000 times.
Oh my god, yeah.
I was like, what? I
Bro,
was
did
like,
you
that's a
break your
lot.
mouse yet?
Yeah,
Jesus.
dude. And then, did you guys watch the video I put in the chat about what one of the like raid bosses is like in fucking
No, I didn't see it.
this game? It's absolutely insane. It's fucking wild doing these raid bosses. So yeah, I mean, it looks like it's a good time. It really
Nice.
does. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully they get their stuff sorted out here.
Yeah. All right, Jesse, you want to give us a rundown of
Nintendo
you
Direct
might?
rundown.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
You're my Nintendo guy.
There's suddenly a Nintendo Direct out of nowhere,
Yep.
and they showed some cool stuff. There were a lot of like remakes and ports that they're doing, and
Mhm.
Andrea flipped out because they're doing a port like of Chrono Cross, which is
Yes.
this highly regarded JRPG from back in the PS2, PS1 era, PS2 maybe,
Mhm. Something like that.
and
Yeah.
it's super good. Super happy to see that, and it's also coming in like a bundle with
Mhm.
this like text-based RPG. I forget what it's called. It's like the name of the
Zork.
whole thing. No, but it's like this thing that was impossible to get in the US for like years and years, and you'd have to import it, and it's super rare and
Mhm.
hard to get. But they're just bundling it in, and it's like a prequel to Chrono Cross, so that's pretty sweet. And whatever JRPG updates like skipping battles and speeding up time and
Right.
shit. They're bringing Earthbound to Nintendo Switch Online, so that's cool. I've never played Earthbound, but that's like one of the games that was like the inspiration for Undertale, which I'm
Mhm.
over the moon about. So I'm excited to try that finally. And then another one that looked really cool is called Live Alive, which apparently
Yeah.
is this old fucking RPG. It reminds me of Octopath Traveler. They've got all these different characters with like very different backgrounds, but they're remaking it in the 2D HD style of Octopath Traveler and
Mhm.
Triangle Strategy, and that looks really sweet. Um, there's this new Kirby game, and they showed a bunch of shit with Kirby doing this mouthful mode thing where he just like
Yeah.
stuffs something in his mouth, but he can't eat it, and he takes the shape of that thing. And
Yeah.
Twitter went fucking nuts, just like coming up with really, really stupid photoshops of all these Kirby things.
Hold on. Did you see the one for VLC Media Player?
Yeah, I like that one the
That's
most.
my
Just
favorite. I
around the
absolutely
little
love it.
cone.
I want to change my icon
Uh,
for VLC on my computer to that. It's the fucking best.
yep,
Uh,
very amusing. Um, and the other thing that caught my eye was they're adding more DLC to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe after all this time. And they're adding a lot. They're adding 48 tracks to this game
Tim.
that were in previous games,
Um,
which is an insane amount.
yeah, it
This
is.
is ridiculous.
Cool to see, but weird how you just like had one DLC, quit supporting it for all this time, and now you're suddenly doing 48 tracks for the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's going to be one of those things that they're going to bundle with like Nintendo Switch Online. So if you have
Mhm.
that, you don't have to buy them. Otherwise, I'm not sure. I don't think they've got a price point for them yet. But yeah, that's what Nintendo's up to. And then they dropped the new demo for Triangle Strategy, which carries over the full game. So that's what I've been sinking my teeth into.
Also, new Wii Sports. They have
Oh,
Switch Sports now.
yeah, after all this
Yeah.
fucking time. Listen, no one cares about that anymore. I was waiting
Mario
for that.
Strikers does look interesting though.
Ooh, Mario Strikers. All right, weird new sports game, Nintendo characters. That's fine. Normally this pisses me off because these games are usually developed by Camelot Software.
Mhm.
However, Camelot Software is not developing Mario Strikers, which means maybe they're making a cool game. Maybe they're making a new Golden Sun or a remake of Golden Sun.
Maybe. I don't know.
This Nintendo Direct, I watched it
Mhm.
and there were some cool things like yeah, Strikers looked okay. Uh I really do think Triangle Strategy is a game that I should be interested in. And like, but what it did is it further reinforced that unless it's an indie game or a first party game, I have no interest in it. There were so many games. Like, I have never, ever seen The Force Unleashed look that bad.
I know they're porting these old
Oh my
fucking
god.
games to the
And
Switch.
somehow making them look worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that the Switch is old. I know that the Switch is 5 years old, and that the chip that they use for the Switch is older than that. It was old when they put it in the Switch. It's a Tegra chip. It was basically a phone chip. It's old as crap. But like, dude, I just stop.
To
I
see that
can't.
in their presentations is so wild.
Like, for them to put out a trailer of MLB The Show 22,
Mhm.
and for it to look like someone made it in a pixel art program and to be running at 10 frames a second was just, I mean, Shohei Ohtani should have been ashamed to be in that commercial, basically.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
wonder how many people that ever will listen to this that know who the fuck Shohei Ohtani is other than me. But it's
He's one
fine.
of those two guys, right?
he's the
Those were
baseball
the
guy.
same guy. Those were the same
He's the
guy.
Oh,
baseball guy who's a
He
freaking
was
sensation.
he was both of those guys.
okay.
He is one of the only guys in the American League who is a pitcher that they let hit because he can
Yes,
actually do it.
yeah,
So yeah,
Yeah, the other
and
thing
there's
that
a whole.
was really wild about the Direct was no Breath of the Wild 2 news at all.
That's because
yeah.
I don't think it's surprising.
No
Personally,
Super
I don't.
Mario Odyssey anything either.
I'm not surprised that there's no Legend of Zelda news. One, because this came out of fucking nowhere. Two, because this hardware shit, and I think they're gonna just save it. I think they
Oh my
should save it
god.
until they have new hardware.
If they do it again, man, that's what they did with Breath of the Wild. Is like it's gonna come out on the Wii U. Oh, actually, it's gonna be the Wii U and the Switch. Oh, I hate that shit.
I mean,
I
Twilight
have a
Princess
question.
went through that.
Well, dude, also new hardware. They literally just said that the Switch is only halfway through its lifespan. If you think they're gonna wait
exactly.
you think they're gonna wait 5 years before they put out Breath of the Wild 2 after they announced it 2 years ago?
I mean, they could. Here's my thing, man. Like
Could and should are
we're
not the same
no, no,
conversation.
no.
I'm asking if you
How
think
many
they are going to, because
we are
that's a terrible.
literally sitting here dunking on them because they can't even run a video in 30 FPS.
Yeah, but they could run
And
Breath of the Wild if it's made
Breath
specific.
of the
We've had this
Wild was
conversation,
5 years ago, though.
right? But we've had this
Now we're
conversation.
talking
Things
about
that are
new
designed
game.
just for the Switch are usually fine. It's anything that is designed to run on something that's significantly more powerful that sucks. But if it's made to be for the Switch, that's fine. And I think if they scale back Breath of the Wild to like Breath of the Wild 2 to, if it looks the same as Breath of the Wild 1, no one's going to complain as long as it plays well.
I don't know. I don't think that nobody would complain. I think at this point, because what Breath of the Wild did when it came out 5 years ago was basically unprecedented in a lot of ways for an open world game of what they were able to render and on that hardware. That was 5 years ago. Since then, there's been plenty of other open world games that have come out. What are they gonna do that's gonna blow people away the same way Breath of the Wild did on 5-year-old hardware? Like they can't even run Dying Light. They have to cloud stream it, and it got delayed for 6 months. Like, I understand if they make like even Mario Odyssey came out within like a year and a half of the original Switch release. And then when they came out with the new Switch, they just upgraded the fucking screen and none of the internals. Like, I other than like Zelda will sell no matter what you do. It's the same thing as fucking Pokemon, right? Basically any first party Nintendo game is gonna sell. But is it gonna do the same thing that Breath of the Wild again? I doubt it. I think people are gonna look at it and be like, this is a cool open world Zelda game, but it's not gonna have the same effect the original Breath of the Wild did. There's just no way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it definitely won't have the energy because Breath of the Wild, that was the Switch game. That's what was there when
right,
the console was coming out. That was the exciting thing. But
right,
now the new one's coming out and like, yeah, I'm sure it'll be cool, it'll be exciting, but nowhere near as exciting as the original.
right. And like if they could add some like new technology into that, you know what I mean? Or like because that was part of the thing, like being able to motion control or whatever, like I forget what it was, but like the
Yeah, the
magnetic
Sheikah
stuff and whatnot.
slate things, yeah.
Yeah, like that. All that was kind of cool. That was new back
Which
then.
they've
You know, you never
abandoned
seen.
completely now. Like they
Correct.
don't, no new
Yeah,
game uses any of the motion control stuff.
that's what I'm saying. It's just like I just feel like the Switch hardware, if they want Zelda to do the same thing it did with Breath of the Wild, is just too old. It's just too old at this point. Like
I
it's not gonna.
wonder. So there's all this Steam Deck related news, all these Steam Deck related videos. The Steam Decks officially start shipping in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Valve is actually putting Portal on the Switch, which I think is hilarious.
yeah.
What does this direct? Because like we said, it came out of nowhere. I don't know how long it takes to put a Nintendo Direct together. No idea.
Right.
But does it kind of feel like a panic move? Like, oh god, there's this other handheld coming, and like Valve keeps saying that the Steam Deck is not meant to compete with the Switch, and like it is and it isn't, right? Like they can say that all they want, but people are going to compare it because it's a handheld. So like, is Nintendo doing that now too? Or are they like, oh no?
No, 100% not. They don't give a fuck. Dude, they have their Switch has now sold more units than the Wii, and they're only halfway through the life cycle. Like at the rate that they're going, they're gonna sell more units than the Nintendo DS, which is like their biggest selling console ever. Like they don't give a shit,
Oh
dude.
yeah, they'll
And
probably catch that by the end of the year.
no, it's I think it's too many units to do within. They'll probably catch up within the next couple of years. But either way, and Steam, don't get me wrong, I love Steam and Valve, and the Steam Deck is probably going to be a great like machine. There's no way they're pushing out as many units as fucking Nintendo can. They just can't. I don't with the chip shortage and everything or whatever. They're not a manufacturing hardware company. They never really have been.
Shitty hardware actually plays in Nintendo's favor.
It does. It does in that case. Like
It's
I
easier to make an old chip on an old node that no
right.
one is using
That's
anymore.
Right.
true.
Well, and the other part of the whole thing is that no matter how good the Steam Deck has, it will never have Pokemon. It will never have Zelda. It'll never have Mario. Other
My
than like
Steam Deck will.
emulators,
I was gonna say
other
my
than
Steam Deck will have
emulators.
Pokemon on
But
day one. Okay.
but you get what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
that's the whole point. So I don't. Yeah, Nintendo has never given a shit because their first party is so strong, and I don't think they ever will. They're just gonna do what they want. So,
Yeah,
which is unfortunate.
I don't know why they put this Nintendo Direct out, but I don't think it was in response to the Steam Deck.
I don't think it realistically was, but I'm saying the optics wise, like I can see, it
I
can
think
kind
they
of
just
look
wanted to
that way.
talk about Kirby, honestly, in my opinion, because they'd only had the little teaser before that.
They just wanted to show mouthful
Yeah,
mode.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
hate it.
mean,
it's really
and
gross.
honestly, this is the first direct I think in the past few years. There's been, I mean, in a long time there's been no Smash character
Yeah,
since
because we're done with
2018.
Smash.
No more Smash, and there's no upcoming Pokemon as of right now. So like
Yeah.
nobody really knew what they were. And Metroid Dread just came out, so you're not really expecting any Metroid news. Like all the big ones that you normally guess was at a Nintendo Direct weren't applicable to this one in particular. You're just kind of like, I
Mhm.
don't know what this is for.
Yeah.
Um,
And they said it was kind of like games that are coming out in the first half of this year that they're trying to showcase,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
Weird.
So I think honestly, I think it was for Kirby. I think they're going to try and market Kirby as their next big game in lieu of no Pokemon, no Smash, no anything else, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, that'll definitely be their next exciting title that comes out, I suppose. Something that's going to get some attention.
yeah.
Open world Kirby.
Yeah. Hey,
Post-apocalyptic open world Kirby because
reasons.
reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck it. It doesn't need to make sense. It's fucking Kirby. I do have a question for you guys. Before we leave for the night. Lord of the Rings. Who do you want to buy the IP because it's coming up for sale?
So is
$2
it's the
billion,
rights to the movies and games? Is that what it is?
from what I understand. Yeah.
Who do I buy that? Man, who makes great co-op third-person action games? That's who I want to buy that.
Platinum. No,
Dude, oh my
that's what Scalebound
Platinum
is.
Lord of the Rings, just like
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings on a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
drugs.
Oh, see,
Jesus.
it's unfortunate to me that wait, who owns WB? AT&T. AT&T owns WB, which is confusing. But it's sad that Big Daddy AT&T is going to sell that off because like WB actually has made some banger games. Shadow Mordor, Shadow of
Shadow of
War.
Mordor, dude. Hell yeah.
Like like going back even further, didn't they do War in the North? That was them too, right?
Think so? I'm
I
not
think
sure.
so. And like that's an underrated game. I don't care what people say. That was a good game. Like I think that between that and then like the Hobbit movies and the Lord of the Rings franchise, like Warner Brothers has done good things for Lord of the Rings fans,
Yeah,
for the
Lord of the
Hobbit
Rings
fans.
Online, that's must have been while WB had it, right?
Yeah, and I think that's still going.
Oh yeah.
Well, weren't
So
they
like,
trying to reboot a new Lord of the Rings Online and that crashed and burned?
yeah,
Hmm?
Amazon was making that.
Yeah,
Oh
it
yeah,
sounds
It
like
was
eh.
yeah.
it was supposed to go along with their web series that they were making, and I think, or not web series, the new show for
The new
Amazon
TV
Prime.
show.
That's still coming. Yeah, that's still coming, but the game's not. Yeah, it
I
sounds like they're first in line, but I don't want them to buy it because then
Yeah.
they'll make a new world Lord of the Rings skin thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who I'd want to get it.
mean, it's probably. I mean, as of right now, it's probably going to be Amazon. I don't know. I don't. It's gonna be hard to figure out because the problem is like if you get rights to the movies, actually, you know who should buy it? Fucking Sony. Sony makes movies, and they make really good
They
single player video
Stop that.
games. I mean, it's true.
I don't want
It's
it would
Xbox or
fit.
Sony to buy them. Also, I really don't want Xbox or Sony to buy them because here's a thought. WB owns the Nemesis system.
they need to sell
Nemesis
that
Oh.
with the Lord of the Rings.
that was developed for
Mm.
Shadow. So
Yeah,
like if you buy that, do you buy Nemesis? Like do you
I
get
hope so. I hope
but
so.
like they're also using the Nemesis system in the Wonder Woman game, so they're just gonna hang on to that.
Yeah, I think they're gonna hold on to that patent.
They might. I don't know. Either way, but if I'm look, all I'm saying is, imagine Horizon Forbidden West, but instead of gigantic dinosaurs, it's you running around in Lord of the Rings in their Ents. Like it makes sense. Like it just fits. Like they can make those games
By that
very
argument,
good.
Ubisoft could make them because like basically Shadow of
Or
War was Assassin's
Ubisoft
Creed
makes
with
shit
rain.
games. That's the difference. Like
Eh,
Ubisoft
hey,
hasn't made a really good
Ubisoft,
game in a long time, and they're selling NFTs. Ubisoft doesn't need to be buying.
stop, hold
What?
up,
I said a
a
really good
really
game.
long
I didn't. I said a
define
really
a
good.
really long time.
I would say their last like really good game that turned out to be really good was probably Wildlands. So 5 years ago,
You think Wildlands better than Odyssey?
yes,
Oof,
I think
hard to
Wildlands is
disagree.
better. Is you Odyssey has had a lot of microtransaction issues or whatever when it came out. It still has microtransaction issues, and it's way too grindy. It's bloated open world nonsense, which is something I agree with SkillUp. Wildlands or whatever had really good co-op or whatever. It had a rough launch, don't get me wrong, but it had good four-player co-op or whatever that you could go in and do a lot of things with your friends. So the actual like events in the open world didn't feel as bad. But I know you love Odyssey a lot. I know you do. And
I
I
think
played Odyssey, I played Valhalla and a lot of that stuff, but I just
I
yeah.
kind of see what you're saying. Like, if you look at Wildlands, it feels like they're trying to do like some new stuff. When Wildlands
Right.
came out, like that felt. It reminded me of like what I always refer to Mercenaries. It reminds me of
Yeah.
Mercenaries in a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah,
ways. It's got that
It
kind of
does.
vibe to it, co-op Mercenaries.
Yeah.
Whereas Assassin's Creed, it's just kind of like the same shell with new stuff,
Right.
iterated and
It's
iterated.
it's the same shell with which mythology are we gonna throw at it this time? That's what it's been. The past two, at least the past
For
two.
better or worse, yeah.
Yeah. Which Valhalla, don't get me wrong, Valhalla's fun. Disappointing in some aspects, but it's fun. Odyssey, fun. Also disappointing in some aspects. You know what I mean? It's just kind of what it is. But then like Division 2 never really took off. It is what it is, you know what I mean? Breakpoint was a fucking disaster. Their
Breakpoint's terrible.
their newest
Yeah.
game they put on Game Pass because they knew it was gonna fucking suck.
Oh,
You know what I
the
mean?
Rainbow Six Extraction.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's just they're
Whatever happened to that open world like extreme sports game
Oh, I think that came out, didn't it?
Actually, it
That
came
came
out.
out. That came
Yeah,
out, and like it was
nobody really
really
talked about it.
like people really liked it, and then everyone just stopped talking about it. So I don't know if it's doing well or
Because
not.
you
Yeah.
can it's once again, I use the term really good because they've had games come out. None of them are really good. The last really, really good game that they had come out was Wildlands. And so that's my overall. And now they're doing the whole NFT thing. You want to buy fucking Gimli's axe as a goddamn NFT, Tim? We don't want Ubisoft to buy
If I was
Lord of the
gonna
Rings.
buy an NFT,
Shut the fuck up.
And my
just because,
NFT.
just because every time I could say "and my axe,"
Oh man,
Goodness.
I don't know. Yeah,
my
I
JPEG
think
axe.
as of right now, at a $2 billion price tag as well, or whatever, it's affordable for Sony. Sony should definitely buy that IP. I think they do a lot of good things with it.
Hmm.
If I was going to choose somebody, because I mean, somebody's gonna buy it. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? So
Watch it be Disney.
fuck.
Yeah, dude. I hope whoever buys it licenses it out to good people to make good
Oh, that would
quality
be great.
products.
That'd be great. That would be great.
Give us a million Lord of the
Disney
Rings games.
Disney makes more sense actually than anybody because they put out video games and
They're coming
movies.
around with Star Wars now, making more Star Wars games. So if we could see that
I'm
with
trying
like Lord of
to
the Rings,
give me a Similarian series.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of stuff they can still do. I was thinking it more from a games perspective and slightly movie perspective, but I think if you're looking from a bigger like, hey, we're gonna release some huge box office movie titles or whatever, and some like maybe mid games or maybe a really good game kind of thing. Yeah, Disney makes a lot of sense. And $2 billion is fucking like nothing to them. Shit.
It's a drop
for
in the
real.
bucket.
For them, yeah. I don't know. I don't know, boys. All right. I was just really curious because I know you guys are super big Lord. I'm such a casual fan in so many of these fucking fandoms. I feel like you
Have you
guys are
guys
a
seen the
bigger hard.
controversy about the Dwarven princess?
What?
They released a bunch of pictures from the new Lord of the Rings series. They're calling it The
Mhm.
Rings of Power, the TV
Mhm.
show. And there's a dwarven princess, and she doesn't have a beard. She's clean shaven. People are
Oh
like, "What the
god.
fuck? Where's her beard?"
This is the Cortana nonsense all over again. There's a wider audience outside of the core audience that needs to be like you have to bring in for TV shows and stuff like that.
And yet, there's no beard. I feel like the beard would bring people in.
I agree.
For craziness, for
I
like the for the
That
for
would
the
bring in a
old
wider
circus thing.
audience. You listen, people love a freak show, and
That's true. That's what I see the angle you guys are going with. It would be funny. It'd be great for the memes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Alrighty, boys.
I'm just picturing Tormund asking where the bearded woman is.
Dude,
Oh
oh
my
my,
god.
Cody, when I first saw Zisu in Pokemon, that was my first thought. Big woman.
Have you
It's the
met
big woman here.
Have you met Melly or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck?
Oh yeah, yeah. That very effeminate dude.
Yeah, the one I called a trap.
Yeah.
I thought that character was a female all the way until I fought Electrode.
Really.
And then I had a man go, he. I was like, he?
Yeah.
He? I was like, what? I was like, that's a chick if I've ever seen one in my life. Like, what the fuck?
Definitely ambiguous looks. Yeah.
And that character's awful.
Kind of an
Absolutely awful.
asshole. Yeah.
Like just a total dick
That
for no reason.
that one's a whoa man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, anyways, all right, boys. Uh, it was nice talking to you guys.
Yes, a
Do we want to play
pleasure. A
games?
pleasure.
I know Tim can't really play games, but Justin, do you want to play
I'd
some?
have to remote into my home computer because I don't have internet to
You got something going on, or?
download.
I do have to be up kind of early. I could play a few rounds of something maybe.
All right, we'll talk about it off stream. We might be
Yeah.
back, we might
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
but we love you all, and we will see you next Friday.
Happy OLEP.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.